Perhaps you can tell us about the theme for this year.
Sure.
Never alone?
Yes, and that is a very important theme because we do realize, especially in this time when we're dealing with COVID, how everyone is feeling very alone. And there's such a rise in depression and just isolation in general. And the pregnancy resource centers especially are there to share with the women and men who are dealing with unplanned pregnancies that they are not alone. And that is something that they really feel when they're dealing with an unplanned pregnancy, that there is no one else out there for them. So pregnancy centers are an essential part of reaching out to them and letting them know that they are available, they are there for them in every situation that they are dealing with, because they care about them. They care about the women, they care about the men, they care about the child as a whole, not just the children that are there that we are trying to save, but the families as a unit.
Great. So I guess we are ready for the introductions. Go ahead, Sharon. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. My name is Sharon Pearce, and I serve as the Director of Silent Voices, Real Choices Chula Vista. We're located in Chula Vista. I've been in that position for 37 years, and I love what I do. Something personal. Okay, I have a lot of cats. That's pretty personal. So don't freak out. I have 8.
She's the cat lady.
I'm the cat lady, but they keep me sane. I can go home from work after a hard day and just love on those little bundles of fur.
All right.
Wonderful, thank you. How about you, Heidi?
Yes, my name is Heidi Hill. I'm the President CEO for Birth Choice in San Marcos. I have been the CEO for 7 years, but I've been with Birth Choice for 10. And Birth Choice has existed in the San Marcos community we are now entering our 34th year. Something personal about myself is that I'm about to be a grandmother with my first grandchild in March.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. We're super excited. And one other thing that most people don't know about me is that prior to being the CEO at Birth Choice, I was a 3rd degree black belt martial arts instructor.
Oh my gosh, don't mess with you.
Watch out.
Yeah.
How about you, Delaiah?
And myself. Okay, so as Maria shared, I am the manager, or I'm sorry, trying to get my mind around here. I'm the Development and Public Relations Manager for Silent Voices, but I am also a part of the San Diego Walk for Life Committee, and so another reason why I'm here, and I love this program and being able to share with you.
Perfect. I think we are ready to
Yes,
initiate
we
the
are.
conversation to talk about our topic that brought us tonight.
All right, so for our topic tonight, we are discussing Stronger Together, and this is how pregnancy resource centers support women and men who are dealing with unplanned pregnancies and the children that are involved. So for the questions that I have for you, I'm just going to go back and forth, and I'd like for you, Heidi, to tell me, how is it that your center primarily reaches out to clients? What is it that you do?
We provide a variety of services, primarily pregnancy tests and ultrasounds, which is the main reason that women call us. But we also provide other supportive services. We do a prenatal and parenting Earn While You Learn program that currently is being done online. And has been incredibly successful. We've seen a 35% increase in our ability to help women who are shut in their homes and be able to support them, as well as the fathers. It is by appointment, but by doing that, we are able to facilitate having dads and mothers be able to attend the classes so that they can parent together. We also offer after-abortion care services, as well as sexual health for both young men and women.
All right, thank you very much,
You're
Heidi.
welcome.
All right, and Sharon, can you share a bit about how you reach out to clients?
So we are not a clinic yet. We provide free pregnancy tests and education about all of their options. We have a parenting program. We hope to relaunch our Bridges to Motherhood support group again as soon as our governor decides it's okay. We do post-abortion recovery, and I am a certified natural family planning instructor. think that's it. We also have a pretty extensive international ministry, Israel, India, Africa, Romania, Russia. So we're helping them reach clients in their own countries.
All right, thank you. Now, you mentioned something that we don't hear often a lot. Can you share with me, what is natural family planning?
Natural family planning is a fertility awareness method, and so I can teach a woman to understand how her body works, when she's fertile, when she's not fertile, so that she's not having to take birth control pills or use any kind of devices that might cause permanent damage to her or long-term health effects. So something I'm pretty passionate about. I've been teaching for 15 years. I've just started serving on the board of directors for the Billings Ovulation Method of America. And my goal with them is to try to reach evangelicals with the message that NFP is a wonderful option, because we've really not heard about it, I don't think.
All right, thank you very much. So now you know. All right, so Heidi, I'd like to ask you, how are pregnancy resource centers uniquely different from other healthcare services?
Well, first, I think it's because we approach them with a holistic approach. We care about the whole woman, not just whatever particular situation that she's coming to them for, a particular health need. We are looking at the whole woman. We want to know about her. We want to know about her situation. We want to be able to provide emotional support as well as material support. We offer the medical services. And we really want her to touch into her heart. We want her to be able to kind of take all of the things that are in the world and put them aside and just really be able to isolate what it is that she's feeling in her heart about the situation that she's currently in and what it is that she truly wants, and then be able to help her in whatever it is that she decides with whatever support that she needs.
All right. Now, you're sharing about whatever support she needs. Are you able to help them if they are dealing with other crises that are not pregnancy related?
We are. So we have an extensive community resource binder. Our client services director, she is in charge of that binder, and it offers a variety of services that are in the community for whatever a woman might be needing. It could be something, housing, it could be a car seat, it could be a battering situation, it could be recovery for drug addiction. Whatever it is that she needs, we want to be able to provide that for her. And if we don't have a resource for her, then we will find one.
All right, thank you. And Sharon, how do pregnancy resource centers communicate with families when they are experiencing a crisis pregnancy in a life-affirming way without the judgment that you typically see from people who want to see there's no abortions or no sex outside of marriage? How do you share that without that judgment?
I think the first thing that I learned was that it's important to establish rapport. You need to sit down with the person, be vulnerable with them, let them be vulnerable with you. Just get to know them a little bit before you start talking about the situation that they're in. And then gently lead them through some questions to help them evaluate, what is it that I want to do? What really in my heart do I want to do in regards to this pregnancy? And then look for ways to see if there's an open door to give them more information about the choices that they're considering. At Silent Voices, we never push anything on anybody. And I think that that's pretty much the standard across the board, that pregnancy centers in San Diego County are not pushing women into any decision. We realize it's their decision, and we're there to help them make a good one. We hope and pray that they'll choose life, but we also realize that ultimately they're the ones that are going to make that choice. They're the ones that are going to have to live with it, and all we can do is be there to guide them, support them, encourage them. But really the first thing is just sitting back and getting to know this woman before you try to talk her into or out of anything.
All right, thank you.
Sharon, but I'm pretty sure that when this woman feel, vulnerable and lonely, with the support of the pregnancy centers, that's really a huge difference for them, right? Because they don't feel alone, and when you don't feel alone, you have a support system. Your mind is clear, or it can be a little bit more clear and make a better decision, right?
Yeah.
Not a decision that is, that you are pressured to make one decision, but it's a well-informed decision.
Correct.
Which is the big difference, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, we were talking about decisions, about making that pregnancy decision. Heidi, how does your center encourage fathers to be a part of that pregnancy decision process?
Well, first of all, they're not excluded. However, I have to say COVID has made it very difficult during these times because we have restrictions on how many people we can have in the center, and we have a mobile unit, and because of the tight space, that makes it more difficult. So we haven't been able to allow the fathers to come on board. However, what we do is we invite them to come. We can FaceTime we want them to see the ultrasound, obviously. That is the most important thing. And so, so the mother is able to FaceTime the ultrasound or send him a picture with her phone. If he's waiting out in the car, we can maybe meet him in the parking lot. We can always do a Zoom meeting if that's something that they are agreeable to talk to them together. Mostly we try to really empower the mother to be able to have the important conversations that she needs to have with him. For example, we had one woman, they already had 3 children, were not expecting to have another one, and he really wanted her to have an abortion because of financial reasons. She totally understood where her husband was coming from, but in her heart, it was really hard. She came to us looking for an abortion. However, after talking with our client advocate and helping her to really see what it is that she wanted, and even coming to the conclusion that she would eventually resent her husband for making a decision that she knew was really going to hurt her. She was encouraged and empowered to go home and be able to have that conversation with him honestly and lovingly. And then from there, he came on board, and actually then after that, he was like, it's time to get rid of the baby clothes. No, I think we need to keep them now.
Oh, cool.
Totally turned him around.
Cool.
So, so a lot of times it's just really helping the mother to be the one to really have an honest conversation, because sometimes the guys just really don't know. She's trying to please him, and if she has that honest conversation and says, this is what I really need from you, then that helps them to be the men that we want them to step up to be.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And that really shares about how we're never alone. They're never alone
Yes.
in that situation. You had something to say, Sharon?
Yeah, I do. Sometimes we have guys call for their girlfriend, and I will, if I can get the foot in the door with them at all, one of my first questions to them is, what is it that you want to do? Do you want her to have an abortion? Or do you want her to have the baby? And a lot of times they go really quiet, and then they'll say, well, I want to have this baby, but it's her decision. And so I will spend time with this dad and talk about the fact that, yes, it is her decision, but you have feelings about this as well, and those feelings are valid, and it's okay for you to tell her how you feel. And in fact, she may be waiting for you to say, I want you to have the baby. She may be pursuing abortion because she thinks that's what you want. And so have that conversation with her, tell her how you feel. And then if she chooses abortion and you don't want her to do it, I would encourage that father to back away and not help that woman get the abortion. And she's going to be really upset, and she's going to probably say, you know, you're abandoning me, and this is part your responsibility as well. But down the road, she's going to be mad at some people. And if you help her get this abortion, she's going to be really mad at you. So no matter what this woman decides, you're going to get her anger, but what can you live with for the rest of your life? Can you live with helping somebody take the life of your child? Or can you live with I did everything I could to protect my child. And it's okay for you to take that position. And a lot of times they're like, wow, I never thought I could do that. And well, that's because you've been told it's a woman's choice. And yes, ultimately it is, but you are also part of this equation, and it's okay for you to tell her how you feel.
Oh, thank you.
I was just thinking how important is for the mother or for the parents to listen the heart of the baby in the ultrasound, because you're talking about ultrasound, but
Right.
can you share with us why is that very important?
Actually, listening to the heartbeat is not a medically directed process. We're not allowed to share the heartbeat with them. They get to see it. Okay, yeah. You have to have a medical reason for facilitating the ultrasound, and in that early stages of the pregnancy, it's a doctor's tool that's used to facilitate that. So they get to see the heartbeat, and it's extremely important. I mean, sometimes, like, we always see the beautiful pictures of the babies in the ultrasound, you know, they're moving around, you see the arms and the legs and everything, but just this can totally transform a mother, to see this little heartbeat. We had a father who had the opportunity to see his ultrasound, and they were going to be having an abortion. He came with her, which is rare, and we were so pleased to have this young man come. But when he saw this, he was like, that's my baby? That's my baby.
That's a human life.
Yes.
Human life.
It totally, like, I got goosebumps just thinking about it. It totally transformed them. So even though they can't hear the heartbeat, because that's something that the doctor gets to do later, but even just seeing that tiny little blip is, I feel like the Holy Spirit just reaching across the void and really touching their hearts and sharing with them, like, the humanity of what is inside.
Yeah, it really shares that there is an actual, as Maria was saying, there is an actual life there.
Yes.
And it wasn't very significant either, but it was the catalyst that changed it.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes like images talk more than words. So
Yes,
and that's one example, right? The mother can change her mind just by see the baby, or you know.
All right, so I have a question that we're going to move towards churches now. I mean, we are a pregnancy resource centers that want to share about life, but we also want to have the backing of our churches as well. Do you feel like you have that backing, or do you feel like it needs to increase? How can the churches support pregnancy centers?
I think it's a struggle, at least from an evangelical perspective. It's difficult to get pastors to step up and get involved. We have a fairly good number of churches that support us, but there are so many that just won't address this issue for whatever reason. They don't want to rock the boat. They're afraid of what's going to happen if somebody in their church has had an abortion and it upsets them. There's all kinds of reasons why they wouldn't take a position, but my feeling is that there's always something that they can do to help, and that there are people in their church that would get involved if the pastor said, hey, there's this place down the street, and they're doing a good work. So that's my perspective.
I would agree. I think it is a struggle. I think there's always going to be those that will support and those that won't. I think one of the things that we need to do, though, is we need to see it as a partnership. If churches understand that we're not just coming to them with our hand out saying, please support us, we actually have services that we can offer them and work together with them. For example, Sharon, you probably have one too, but we have a boutique, and it carries all kinds of beautiful baby items that people donate to us. And so we recently had an evangelical church that reached out to us. They had a food pantry, and they said, our missions, we can't go overseas anymore, so we're reaching out to our local community, and we have a food pantry. And I said, that is wonderful. I said, we will be sure to pass that on. And in turn, we also have this boutique. And I said, so for mothers who are needing clothing for their babies and diapers and stuff like that, so we swapped flyers. We're working together in our local community to make that happen. I can say, though, that those pastors that really do speak in support of what we do have a much greater response in the congregation. The people in the congregation are more likely to jump on board, to be enthusiastic. Like I just did a church on Sunday, and they were very outspoken about the fact we are a pro-life church. And everyone was so willing to say, what can we do to help? So I think it's important, too, that when we're interacting with a church, that not only can we share with them what we can do, but to give them a list. Like, everybody wants to help. So here's a list of things that we can do together. You know, we can, like, if you did a baby bottle drive for us, we could do a sexual health class for your young people. I think giving tangible ways that we can work together is helpful instead of just coming and saying, you know, we'd like to partner with you, you know, give me a call.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're not just
Good
asking
points.
for money, you want to work together and collaborate.
Absolutely, you know. So, so the more that we can know about that church community, and the more that they can learn about us. So inviting pastors to come into our centers and to see what we do. And I really feel like doing the tour, coming in and seeing it, we can talk about it and we can share brochures, but when they come in and they actually see what it is, somehow it solidifies in their mind. For example, I know you have John Proust on staff here, and he did an interview with me recently. He went to my church. We knew each other. He was just down the street, and he said, I had no idea how much Birth Choice did. So it's really like getting them in our centers and saying, you know, and working together.
Maria, I have a question for you. How can how can the Catholic churches, because we're talking here about evangelical, but I'd like to know, how can the Catholic churches become more involved with pregnancy centers? And I know that there is a specific culture of life program within the churches. How does that work?
So you're talking with the right person, lady.
I know.
No, yeah, so I'm the Associate Director of the Culture of Life. So my job here in the diocese is just to promote life, right? From the moment of conception, to promote life from the moment of conception to the end of life, natural death. And one of my roles here is to work with the pregnancy centers. So maybe Sharon can talk later about the Association for Life. We meet every 3 months. I will let you talk about that. But you know, we meet with the director of the pregnancy centers, and we just updated this beautiful postcard. And we have about 18 pregnancy centers in the Diocese of San Diego, in the San Diego County and Imperial County. So 18. So we have been growing. That means that there is a lot of demand out there, and we need to work together. So what I do is I work with the Culture of Life coordinators of the parishes. Each parish has at least one, or not all of the parishes have a Culture of Life coordinators, but I work with them to work to build this culture of life in our diocese. And so we work in 3 different areas. So advocacy, 4 areas: education, advocacy, pastoral, and what is the other one? Pastoral, educational, prayers, and advocacy. Okay. So, I already said that.
There's 4.
I'm missing one. No. So we try to work in those 4 areas. That's not easy. Sometimes we focus more in one area, educational part, like this. This is an educational part, right? The webinars. And sometimes we focus in other parts. But so what we try to do, the Culture of Life coordinators help me to distribute these cards so that the priest should have these cards in the parishes, in the confessionaries. When a woman, confess, I'm having trouble with. I'm having like a pregnancy center. Sorry, I have to.
So when women are considering having an abortion or they're dealing with an unplanned pregnancy, they have that information to provide them.
Exactly.
All right.
Yes. So they need to have, the priests need to know that these pregnancies are there, and they have to make the reference to the to the ladies, right? Or the father, who knows. or the grandmother, right? Or a friend. Probably a friend can say, Father, I don't feel good because, you know, my friend is trying to abort her baby, and I don't think that this is right. So what can I do? Okay, here is the postcard. So where do you live? Okay, I live in Chula Vista. Okay, there is silent voices in Chula Vista. So call this number, you know, that's the way we try to work with the priests, that they need to know about the information of the pregnancy center and make available for those women in need. And right now we're trying to launch this beautiful campaign. It's called Walking with Moms in Need, right? So it's hard because it's COVID. So we have about 10 parishes that are like pilot parishes that are active. But they are doing wonderful things like drive-through baby shower, right? They just take up a present to that mother. They don't even see the mother. Probably they just wave at her and just leave the present there and a little gift for the baby. And that's a huge difference for that mother, for that family, right?
Now, is that happening within the parishes, or is that in collaboration with the Pregnancy Resource Center?
That's a good question, Delaiah.
Maybe that's something that needs to occur, right?
Yeah.
Work
we
together
actually
for it.
have, so just to encourage you, St. Patrick's in Carlsbad, they've been supporting us for a number of years. And their nights, they had a night of Columbus who got involved, and he talked about that. And they did do a baby shower for us, and they filled our boutique. I mean, they made a couple of loads of like in their cars, they brought things to our center. And so that is a success story right there. They've always supported us, the Knights of Columbus in St. Pat's, but this is the first time that they did that initiative, and they were very excited, and they did a great job.
Good to hear that.
Yes.
All right. Well, we have someone joining us, and I'd like to just share a little bit about her, and she's going to give a little bit of her testimony and how the Pregnancy Center helped her. So we have Ileana Arcelona. She is a previous client of Silent Voices, and she was also a part of the post-abortion support group that Silent Voices provides through Sharon Pearce. And so thank you, Illy, for joining us. And can you just share a little bit about how the post-abortion support group or helped you in your life or in your walk?
Right there.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for inviting me. Silent Voices and Miss Sharon Pearce changed my life. For her obedience to the Lord completely changed my life. Abortion affects you in a way that you don't know at first. I was very angry. I was very upset. I was very resentful towards anybody and everybody, especially those that were involved in the abortion. The word abortion would trigger me. I would start to shake. I would start to get angry in my mind. I would want to tell people to shut up. Shut up. You know, there's no need to talk about it. Why are you bringing it up? By the grace of God, He brought me to the doors of Silent Voices and Miss Pearce. And through that weekend, I'll go back a little. I had 2 abortions. One of them was a 2-day process because I was so far along. That's very difficult to even comprehend at times what was done. And so when I got to Sharon, she taught me in a weekend to live without shame, to accept what I've done, and to also accept not only what I've done, but the love of Christ and what He did for me. And she showed me to be courageous, to be bold, to face the word abortion and completely knock it down. And this is something that I want to share that she doesn't know. But in her doing this, it doesn't just change our generation. It changes generations after. So my son had an unplanned pregnancy.
Oh.
And because of doing that weekend with Sharon and giving me the tools that I'm able to voice and express and share my testimony. I did that. She encouraged me to be open with my family, who are not accepting, of course. And because of my testimony, when my son found out his girlfriend was pregnant, the demon of abortion came back because it does that in generations. And he said, Mommy, because of what you told me, we said, no, we're going to keep this baby.
Amen.
And people can help us.
Yeah.
Wow.
So thank you.
Very
It's
cool.
not just us. It goes from generation to generation.
So has that baby been born yet?
Yes, I have a 2-year-old grandson.
Wow.
That's true too.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for your obedience, for all your ladies, for your obedience. You're changing lives. You might not see it, but Sharon didn't know it changed 3 generations. It's generational.
Ali, I appreciate your courage to share your story. Every time we talk about abortion, we need to talk about the mercy of God, right?
Right.
And thank you for sharing, because your testimony really can affect or can inspire other girls that are in similar situations. So thank you for being here with us.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. I want to see pictures.
I'm a grandma. I have lots of pictures. And he's a blessing. And I think he was really the last chain that I had, because I believed I did not deserve an additional generation because of the lives I took. And I think with my grandson, God said, you're good with me. You get another one. Another generation. You are good with me.
Oh, that is such a blessing
cool.
to hear. Yes.
That's awesome.
I have a question for you. What led you to go and receive the post-abortion healing?
I was at the Rock Church, and there was, prior to that, a lot of people don't know that it comes back to you. So there's a lot of stuff that you're dealing with, especially I have had 2 children. And especially with those children that you have, a lot of stuff resurfaces. The things that you get to enjoy with those children, guilt sets in. What would have happened with the other children? So with emotions that I had not dealt with, I started to lash out to my husband, lash out to my kids, lash out with myself. And one day I got into a very big fight with my husband around 3 o'clock in the morning. It was just random. And I told him, why aren't you suffering the way I'm suffering? Where's your mourning? Where's your guilt? And my husband said, if God forgives, he forgives everything. I'm like, oh, yeah.
That's easy.
Right? I'm thinking because you didn't carry him or her, don't you think about them? So I was very upset, and I remember my husband telling me we're going to get help. So it was 2 weeks before my birthday. On my birthday, just September 21st, at the Rock, they had a leadership conference. About 300 of us show up. They just do trainings. And I saw a woman walking by, and I heard a very clear voice in my head say, ask her to sit with you. And Sharon knows this story. And I said, no, that's weird. I'm going to ask her to sit with me. And I'm getting my food, and this woman walks, and I hear the voice again. He says, ask her to sit with you. And I see this woman, and she's walking around with her food. She's looking. And I say to this voice, she's looking for her friends. And again, it's weird. And I'm not like that. And he said, watch her. And as soon as the Lord says, watch her, I felt a distance from him. I felt the Lord go, this isn't a debate. This isn't a request. It's up to you now. So I go up to this woman very awkwardly. I said, do you want, and I wasn't even nice about it. I wasn't hey, how are you? Oh, nice blouse. No, I was do you want to sit with us? It was like that. It was very traumatic for her. And so she was like, okay. Right. That was her response. She's like, oh, okay. And we sit around, and we're all leaders. At that time, I was leading the senior ministry. I have a heart for seniors. And we go around, and somebody asked her name is Monica, and they ask her, oh, what do you do? She's like, oh, I do abortion week, and she just starts. And it's funny because me and Monica have remained friends, and she tells me, I've never said that before because I know it triggers people. And I remember in my mind, Monica says that I would say, why are you? She goes, but as the words were spilling out, I couldn't put them back in, and I could not control the flow of the words.
So the Spirit was working in her as well.
Yes. And it still took time for me to contact Sharon. I think it took 3 or 4 months because when it opens up, as Sharon taught me, it opens up a floodgate of a lot of stuff. And that's what happened. So that's why the persistence of Monica asking and encouraging and texting and following up and saying, how are you doing? Let's do this. This is something you need. It's healing. Because it was 13 years of suppressed anger and grief. So by the grace of God, and it was God saying, ask her, out of 300 people, the Lord is good. The Lord delivers.
He works in these mysterious ways. Right?
He does, and he puts a bow on it. And here we are. So, like, it's not like the Bible stories are true. Like, it's not like this fairy tale. Like, I'm telling you, I came up. I was like, do you want to sit with it was very non-romantic, but it worked.
That's awesome.
Wow. We are really seeing how God has used these pregnancy resource centers to change lives, and not just as, sorry, I'm not remembering names here. Ileana. I always call her Illy. So yes. Illy, as Illy is saying, it doesn't just work with one individual. It changes lives for generations. And so we thank you, Sharon, Heidi, and all of the pregnancy resource centers here in San Diego and all over the world for what you do to support women, men, and babies, and future generations. All right, so do we have any questions from the audience for our moms? For our pregnancy centers. We'll come back to that. We'll come back. Maybe we've covered it all. All right. Well, before we get to that, so we did kind of cut off on something. So we were talking about the Association for Life, and Maria shared a little bit about that. But Sharon, you're the chair of the Association for Life. So can you just share a bit more about what that is specifically?
So the Association for Life is about 30 years old now, and it was developed or formed because of attacks by Planned Parenthood on pregnancy centers in San Diego County. And we realized that they could pick us off one at a time, and that's what they were doing, or we could band together and work together, support each other, and have a united front. We also wanted to make it very clear what we believed the pro-life movement was about. Not judgment, not anger, but love and compassion.
In other words, they're hearing it from the media or from outside sources about what it is that pro-life people do. But you wanted to give it a real face, a real...
we wanted to write the narrative.
All right.
And take it back. And so we came up with the Association for Life. We meet quarterly. And as Maria said, we have 18 pregnancy centers and 10 pro-life organizations that are part of it. And it's really awesome to be able to meet with these men and women and talk about what's going on and pray for each other. Occasionally we've done events together. It's a great opportunity to know the other directors. This work can be pretty isolating. There's not a lot of people that get it. And so to be able to sit down with a room full of people that really get it, because they're in the middle of it too, is very encouraging.
And also just to experience and to share that passion that all these directors have, that's fantastic. That's beautiful. That's a good energy in the room when we have those meetings. Yeah. And, I can feel energized. And then And also, when there is some time when we share our struggle, what we struggle, and that's very powerful too, because you know, together we pray, and it makes a huge difference just to know that we have that support system.
Right.
It feels good,
Yeah.
and it makes you feel that you are not alone. That
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
By the way,
There you
yeah. So a lot of people are sharing the same passion for the pro-life movement to build a culture of life. So that's a good experience, and that's a hope that is, you know, the culture is very negative right now, very you know, not very pro-life, but you know, we have some warriors that really you know, are looking for a change, and that's fantastic. That's beautiful. That's a hope for the community.
I think that we are seeing more and more a culture of life. I mean, there were, 18 women elected to the Congress that are pro-life, 2 of them from California. There are pro-life congresswomen.
Didn't know that was possible in California,
I didn't
did
either,
you?
but apparently it is. And so I think that as a culture, we are more pro-life than we've been. I think it's the media that is pushing their agenda and their message. And the current president is very pro-life. The next one coming is very pro-abortion. And so they're going to be pushing their agenda. But I think as a culture, as people in this country, because of ultrasound, you can't deny anymore that it's a baby. It takes a lot to be able to do that.
Yeah, the scientific facts are shown when we have our ultrasounds, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we do have a couple of questions, and we'd like to hear a little bit about stories. Illy shared with us her story. Can you guys share a story about someone who had an experience in your center that was very memorable? Heidi?
Yeah, there's a lot. But I will share the story of Crystal. She made a call. She had already had, in her early 20s, she had already had 3 or 4 abortions, and she was looking for another one. I remember the conversation on the phone at the time. I asked her I actually was the one who took the call. She called a hotline, and she had a lot of questions. And she was looking for an abortion. I had a lot of questions for her. And when I started to talk to her, she goes, "Nobody's ever asked me these questions before." And she started to kind of put a few things together. And because of that conversation, she agreed to come in and have an ultrasound. From there, she came in, she met with a client advocate. She saw her baby with the education, and education is a huge piece. We want women to make informed, well-educated decisions. She decided to choose life. However, she had a lot of challenges. She, at one point, became homeless. She was, we placed her in a host home, and it wasn't long before we found out that she also had a drug problem, and was not able to stay clean, and so her baby came early and then was taken from her. So throughout her entire experience, her host home family were very strong Christian people who are very loving, and she still has a relationship with them today. She stayed in touch with an after-abortion care advocate. The client advocate stayed in touch with her. And then she was able to go through rehab, which was very difficult. But she did get her son back, and now is doing an amazing job. So, you know, you mentioned earlier, you know, do the clients stay in touch? Yes, they do. You know, and it's because of how much they've been loved and cared for. So I would say she was like an all hands on deck client that together through everybody working together, the ending was fantastic. So
you do have a lot of clients who end up sharing the stories after they've been working with you then.
Yes. Yeah, it's cool.
All right, and then Sharon, do you have a special story that you'd like to share?
I do. This was pretty early in the ministry, and had a husband and wife come to see us, and they had a child already who was about 2 years old. pregnant again and just could not see how they were going to have this baby. And in talking to them, it sounded like the biggest issue for them was that they didn't know how they were going to be able to buy diapers for 2 babies. And I said, if I promise you that we will provide your diapers, will you have this baby? And they said yes. And I thought, for the price of diapers, a life has been saved. You never know what it's going to take. For that client, that couple, it was diapers. You know, that's where you have to ask the questions and don't make assumptions or judge. It would have been really easy for me to make judgments, but I asked the right questions, thankfully, and that baby is like 35 years old.
Wow.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yes. All right. So thank you for that. Now, one more question we have is, what support is available for women and families experiencing miscarriage or fertility and post-abortion? So let's go with Heidi.
We actually have a program for each of those things. Last year, my daughter experienced 3 miscarriages, and that I knew how devastating it was for him, but I wasn't expecting how devastating it was for me as her mom. But I knew after that, and then I started realizing too that, you know, when the statistics are, you know, 1 out of 4 will have a miscarriage, and we were seeing that statistic played out with the clients that we were seeing, I knew that we needed to have something available for those moms too, because they were hurting as well. So we developed a miscarriage program. Right now we're working at trying to see if there's some pregnancy birthing centers and stuff like that that will share that information so that women know where they can find us. And then for infertility, we usually refer them to Culture of Life Family Services, because they have NAPRO technology, which is a way of determining like what is going on with a woman and what's causing her to miscarry. And sometimes those situations can be taken care of, so they can at least identify where the problem is.
And Culture of Life is also, Culture of Life Family Services is another pregnancy resource center here in San Diego.
Yes, yes.
Right.
So, and then the other one was for after abortion care, which obviously Sharon offers that. We offer it as well. We have a client advocate or a mentor who meets with them, and it is a Bible study program, and it helps women with scripture and various things to help them to come to terms with their abortions, and then to move beyond them to live healthy lives in Christ, of course, you know, but to get past it and to not allow it to like weigh them down and affect their lives negatively any longer.
And I have a question. So are these services that the pregnancy centers provide, are they free? Do the
Yes.
clients have to pay? Another question would be like, how about for undocumented families or
No problem.
Yeah,
Every
no.
woman is served 100% free of charge. It doesn't matter who she is or where she's from.
Wonderful. And you get your funds from for generous
Yes.
Donors.
Support
Donors.
comes from, yes, private donations and churches
Wonderful.
who support us. Yeah. So the more that our communities are aware that we exist, the more hopefully that they would be willing to support the work that we do. Because when they support us, they support life too.
Okay.
How about, sorry to ask this, do you have personnel that speaks Spanish, for instance?
Yes, we have a client services manager that's Spanish speaker. It's wonderful.
Mine too. Yes. So my client services, they're strategically placed just because, so it's great to have them.
All right. We have another question. Why is it important for women to share their post-abortion conversions and experiences? And I feel like Illy really shared that as well. Why do you think that it's important, Illy? Just reiterate.
I think it's important because going back to what the media is putting out, you have a right. That is your right. And I think when we share, like, just know that you have a right to trauma because that's what's coming. I think it's important to share so people know it's not just a procedure. It's going to change your life. It's going to affect you one way, and the media doesn't say that. It just says, hold on to what is yours and you can give it away at any time. But they don't tell you that by taking that right, well, it's actually you're taking somebody else's right, what the effects are. So that's why I like to share it. I'm very vocal. I tell people. And when I tell people, I'm very detailed. And people don't like to hear details. And Sharon knows I'm very like in your face in a very loving way. You know, helps to be cute and funny.
But I say that this is also a part of the healing process as well.
Absolutely, it is. And it's not that it gets easier. We do accept it. But I like to go into detail to tell them I was on a table. I went under because it was a 2-day procedure. None of my family members knew where I was. Do you know how dangerous that was? The people that were there were myself, the Lord, the devil, and the doctor. And the Lord was holding my hand.
Oh.
So I think it's very important to share it, especially with those who don't think it's a big deal, especially with the younger generation, right? That says, oh, it's my body.
So you learn at the hard way, and you want to avoid that to the ladies, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
With every lesson, right? You don't want them to go, but more of this generation, because the media, how they're portraying it, it's like almost like divorce. Like, no, you just sign a paper, it's good to go. It's not that. We have nightmares. We have triggers. I have triggers. I live with my triggers. But we have triggers, and people need to understand if you want to go for a trigger. Look, there's all of this other stuff our parents did to me that, you know, our parents did to us that trigger us. We don't need to add any more triggers to our lives.
We have one more question, and then we're running low on time. So the question is, what information is there about abortion pill reversal? And Sharon, you know about the abortion pill reversal. Can you share what that is?
There is a website, and I think it's on this card. I hate to say it. I don't know what the website is, but if you just Google abortion, if you just Google it, you're going to find it. And there are
COLS, the Culture of Life Family Services.
Yeah, they're the doctor here in San Diego.
So,
but
Dr. Delgado, by the way, Dr. Delgado is going to be with us in the webinar on Friday, but this is going to be in Spanish. Sorry, ladies. But yeah, Dr. Delgado is going to be here talking about the reversal.
So we can, if somebody calls and says, you know, I've already taken the pills, but I don't want to do this now, we know where we can refer them. But the website would be good for anywhere in the country. So if, you know, and it happens, a lot of times we'll have a mom or a grandmother say, hey, my grandchild or my daughter or my daughter's friend, they're in college, needs help. And so I can point them to the website.
There is a rescue line, telephone number. It's in the Diocese of San Diego. You go Diocese of San Diego, and then you need to find the Association for Life, and the rescue line is in there. But also you Google COLFS, Culture of Life Family Services, and you can find directly. You can, you know, that help is directly to get help.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of information that is available for you if you are checking on the Association for Life. One of them is also about the other programs that are available for post-abortion healing, so you can check on those as well, which was another question about what does the Diocese of San Diego have to offer for that. So that information is with the Association for Life, as long as the information about what other pregnancy centers there are here in San Diego County, and other life-affirming programs that are available as well. So we are coming towards the end of our program, and I just wanted to thank everyone here for what it is that you have done, for your support of the women and men dealing with unplanned pregnancies. Thank you, Illy, for sharing your story. It was wonderful to hear that and to see the change that you have felt through that and how it has moved into the family as well, into your generations. And congratulations, Grandma. And I just want to share about some of the things that are going to be coming up. So some of the program information for tomorrow, we will be talking about ways the church can be involved in helping in a pro-life stance. And this also includes in supporting pregnancy centers.
Excellent.
Which reminds me, I would like to ask one more question for both of you. What can our audience do to support you? Share with me what is the main things that your audience, this audience, can do to support you. And we know that money is always helpful, yes. But I want to hear, besides money, what else can they do to support you? So
well, they can certainly pray for us. Prayers move, mountains. So they can pray for us, and that's something that everybody can do anywhere, anytime. But, even like providing, doing like a diaper drive for us. So diapers saved a life. So do a diaper and wipe drive. Anybody can do that. Gently used clothing up to 3T. You can do a baby shower, which your initiative is trying to do. Things like that are always very helpful. Somebody donated like a couple of boxes of paper. Believe it or not, that is huge. Ink. Wow. We can actually print stuff now. So I mean, it seems silly, but I mean, paper and ink are very expensive. So you just never know. We are out of blankets. We have these ladies, these older women who are shut in that love to knit and crochet and do all of that. We need blankets. So
main thing
is
donations of items.
Donations, absolutely.
Okay. All right, and Sharon?
Main thing is we need help getting our mobile medical unit on the road, and that means we need medical people to help. We need doctors, nurses to volunteer so that we can get our license and provide the ultrasound services that we have wanted to do for over, I think we've been working on it for 5 years.
Right.
God provides.
Yes, He does. We're praying. Okay, so you guys know what we need. We need donations and we need volunteers, right? We need those volunteers to come in. So get that in your mind. All right. So for our next program for tomorrow, we are going to be having Equipping the Church to Serve Their Needs. And like I said, this is going to be talking specifically about how churches can be active in the pro-life arena in helping to serve women and men dealing with difficult life decisions. After that, on Thursday, I hope you guys are excited. We're going to be having Ryan Ellis as a virtual concert. So please join us for that on Thursday. And then on Friday, as Maria was stating, that it is going to be in Spanish. Let me see if I can read this correctly. El poder divino de la gracia. Leyendo el amor de Dios y su, I cannot say that word, misericordia. How was that?
Beautiful.
I hope you understood that. So we are going to be having, tomorrow I will be moderating again, and we're going to have Michael Brault from 40 Days for Life, Marie Hoffman from Embrace Grace, Missy Bell and Jared Johnson from Safe Families for Children, which is a program through Olive Crest. So we hope that you will join us again. And don't forget about our Saturday program, which is very extensive. We have 3 different masses at 10 o'clock. It will be at the Immaculata Parish, at the Cathedral Catholic High School, and at St. Vincent de Paul Parish. If you want more information on that and the location, you can check our website at sandiegowalkforlife.org. And also followed by a prayer caravan, which will be at 1 o'clock. To find the route, you can go to our website, look for the tab that says Info and Caravan. So check the Caravan section. There will be a map. You're going to be just cruising along and join the little route that goes around the San Diego County building downtown. Then we also have 2 events that are going to be happening in the South Bay area. The first event will be the prayer service that starts at 3 p.m., which will be at Memorial Bowl Park. Not 10 a.m., 3 p.m. at Memorial Bowl Park. And our guest speaker for that night will be Pastor Bill South And we will follow that with another prayer caravan in the South Bay area. This one will start at Memorial Park and follow a specific route that will highlight our pregnancy centers in the Chula Vista area, which is Silent Voices with Sharon, and Victory Resource Center, which is on 3rd Avenue, and followed by the Westside Community Church, which is where Silent Voices is going to be having their mobile ultrasound unit providing services, which is, guess what, right by Planned Parenthood, right around the corner. So we are going to be following that route, going past Westside Community Church, and then right around the corner is Planned Parenthood. And we're going to be out there with our vehicles, sharing about the pro-life message. We'll have some people out on the sidewalk saying, hey, hi, this is where it is. And you can see all of that as you go by. So please join us again tomorrow, and thank you again for everything that you all have done. And is there any other things that I need to share, Maria?
Just invite the audience to share the, not to share, but to look at the exhibitors.
Yes, please check out our exhibitors online. And also, I'm sorry, I forgot to say this. I would love to thank especially today's event sponsor, which is the Knights of Columbus San Diego chapter. You guys are awesome. You're great. You've done so much to help our pregnancy resource centers. You've given so much to provide for them. And especially for the mobile ultrasound units, you have really helped out with those a lot. So thank you, Knights of Columbus. You guys are great. And we would also like for you to check out more about our exhibitors online. On the resources tab, click on exhibitors and sponsors, and you can learn more about them. Check on their, when you click on their name, it'll send you to their information and, get to know them. Find out how they support pregnancy resource centers, women, men, children.
And the San Diego Walk for Life.
And the San Diego Walk for Life. So go to our website, sandiegowalkforlife.org, to learn more and share with everyone. We want to see posts on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. We want to see that people are learning about how to serve women and men dealing with unplanned pregnancies.